Welcome to tonight's live. Tonight we're talking about how to set boundaries with authenticity and confidence. And last night I managed to avoid too much throat clearing, and someone mentioned the volume, so tonight I have a microphone. Hopefully cracked live streaming. So anyway, back to the topic of tonight's live. We're all conditioned to say yes. When we're children, we're conditioned, we're told, it's good to agree with what other people want. It's good to do what the adults tell us, depending on the type of family you grow up in. You might learn that not doing what the adults tell you results in physical violence. So you become shamed out of saying no. You learn to say yes, to agree with what everyone wants. And that can cause you to become a people pleaser. That can cause you to have a lack of boundaries. And also, as a child, you don't have any boundaries until about 18 months to 3 years. It's not until you start to be able to move around, to pick things up, to touch things, that you start to get a sense of self. Before that, you saw everything as you pushed out. So if you're growing up with parents who have poor boundaries or are narcissistic, boundary breaking behavior, you won't be able to form healthy boundaries. And so you won't have any boundaries as an adult. And there was something else I was going to mention, but I've forgotten what it was. So, as children, we're conditioned to say yes. We're taught that saying no is bad, saying yes, going along with other people is good. Oh yeah, that's what else I was going to say. A child needs unconditional love. They need to know that they're loved no matter what, that they're accepted no matter what. Most children don't get unconditional love, they get conditional love, and they learn that they need to fulfill a role in order to receive love. They learn that they need to look outside of themselves to feel okay, and this creates codependency. This creates a need to look to others for feedback, to look for external feedback, which again is going to lead to poor boundaries, codependency, people pleasing. And down below in the description, you'll find the link to my website, markstubbles.com. You just put markstubbles.com into your address bar. You'll go to my website. On my website, you can download 2 workbooks completely free. The first workbook is my inner child healing workbook. Second workbook is my depression and anxiety workbook. In those workbooks, you're going to find exercises to reconnect with your inner child and also to identify your core values. And knowing what your values are can be very important when it comes to setting boundaries. If something doesn't go against your values, you're able to just say, no, I'm not. Or if something does go against your values, you're able to just say, no, I'm not doing that. That's against my values. And the more you do that, the more you live by your values, the more you'll start to have self-love, the more you'll increase self-esteem, the stronger your boundaries will become, and the more comfortable you'll become about setting boundaries. Okay, I was just checking my notes, see what we're going to talk about next. When your actions don't align with your core values, that creates a stress within you. And as I speak about in my book, which I read on a live stream the other night, Dark Psychology Defense Toolkit, the more you go along with things you don't agree with, the more your sense of self-worth is going to be eroded, the less self-love, the less self-acceptance, self-esteem you're going to have. And there comes a point where either you need to stand up and say no, or your values need to change. And that can lead down a slippery slope where your values don't align with who you truly are. You're just doing things to fit in with others, again, to get that love and acceptance that you can give yourself through inner child healing. And yeah, setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. And once you start to change the system, all parts of that system will change. So once you start setting boundaries, you'll start to increase your self-respect, and that will start to increase your self-love, self-acceptance. You'll start to see yourself as valuable, worthy. You'll start to become more authentic, which, as I spoke about last night, more authenticity is going to make you more charismatic. It's going to allow you to form deeper, more meaningful relationships with the right people. It's going to have all kinds of good effects in your life. And starting in October, I have a 4-week authenticity program. You can find details of that in the description. So check that out. When it comes to setting boundaries, you need to be prepared to lose people, particularly if you've grown up with a very narcissistic family and people who have been accustomed to you having weak boundaries. Because when you start to set boundaries with people that you've always had weak ones with in the past, they're going to start trying to blackmail you. They're going to say, oh, come on, you always do that for me. Or, oh, come on, I did so and so for you a year ago. They're going to start to try and pressure you. Family members, they might say, oh, I never raised you to be like this. I can't believe you'd do this to me. So you need to, when you say no, you need to be firm and you need to stick to that no. And if people keep trying to pressure you into doing things after you've said no, you can take that as a sign that they're toxic and cut them out of your life. You can, just say, I don't need people that won't respect my boundaries, won't respect me in my life, and you can just get rid of them, shut them out, and focus on yourself. So I think that about wraps up tonight's live. As I said, visit my website, markstubbles.com, get those free workbooks, check the description, the details of the authenticity program, which starts in October. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about what I've said about boundaries, and what areas of your life you struggle when it comes to boundaries. Tell me what other kind of things you'd like to see me do a live on. And if you've liked tonight's video and found it useful, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.